Hello everyone, how are you doing guys? Thanks for joining to my webinar. Today we're going to talk about building complex data grids with Ext JS and ReExt. We have a lot of cool things here to share, some good examples we have prepared weeks ago. So my name is Emerson Januário, I am Sencha developer advocate and also CIO at Novant, a Brazilian company and software house in Novant. I'm working with Ext JS since the second version of the framework. I started using framework as a developer. I also help the community to grow and also learn a lot of the community. Today, I am developer advocate and also manage all the MVP and all the customer and developer relationship with Sencha. So what is the agenda for our today webinar? We are going to talk about the Ext JS Grid advantages, also explore one Ext JS Grid sample we have created, and also explore one ReExt grid sample. ReExt is one package that you can use Ext JS components inside the ReExt framework. And the end of this webinar, feel free, you can also ask some questions and you can put these questions on our question panels inside this GoToWebinar control panel. And in the end of this webinar, we are going to try to answer all the questions you may have. All right, so let's get started. So I can say you that our Ext JS is the most complete JS grids in the world. With Ext JS Grid, you can do everything you need for creating your rich applications. You have one built-in grid panel that you can use for columns. You can add too many components inside this grid panel. You can use store. You can use all the type of columns. So you can create better application with our grid panel. So why Ext JS Grid panel? We have one exceptional performance for handling large volumes of data. You can easily bind your Ext JS with some backend, and your backend, you just need to provide the JSON data and you can load easily your data inside our grid panel. We also have one asynchronous loading supporting for data loading and load to data to be loaded and displayed as you need it, reducing the initial load page data. You don't need to create tables for that. You just need to create one proxy and everything will work with good performance. And we also have one flexibility and customization with Ext JS Grid. You can customize everything you need. Everything is made with components, right? So you can extend our grid panel and customize, adding new columns. You can disable or add new plugins for that, new features. You can use format on your cells, on your columns. You can also make it grouping. You can do some conditional calculation inside your cells. And as you know, our grid component and all the components inside the Ext JS is everything about componentization, that you can custom components everything. We have some advanced features inside the Ext JS Grid. You can dynamic grouping and filtering. If you have one JSON with all your data, you can filter your data. You can group in locally or remotely. You can choose what you want on this scenario. And you also have many cool plugins to work with Ext JS Grid. You can do some inline editing. You can edit your cell. You can double click your column or your row, and you can edit all the record inside the same grid, and everything Ext JS will do is just to commit the change, and your proxy will receive the change on your backend, and everything will be changing on your database. So working with inline editing is very, very cool and easy. We also have some premium components that can work with Ext JS Grid. One that of this company is data export. You can easily export your data in various formats, such as Excel, CSV, PDF, if you have one library to convert it to PDF. But we have one built-in plugin and one premium component that you can export your data of your grid panel to one Excel easily. You don't need any backend solution for that. You just need to specify the plugin exporter you want to use, and just click and just program how the formats will be perform on this grid exporter. Another thing here is this advantage for using Ext JS. We have a comprehensive integration and support. Ext JS are available for both toolkits, for toolkit modern and classic. So you have multi-device compatibility. You can create fully responsive application with Ext JS Grid panel that will adapt perfectly to different screen size. So you can use the grid panel inside your phone, inside your tablet, and also in your desktop for both modern and classic toolkit. We also have one easy API integration. When using Ext JS, you will need to create your store, to store all your data, and also you need to create one proxy. The proxy will be responsible to do the bridge between the client side and the server side. And we support many type of proxy. One of the most used proxy is RESTful, that you can easily consume your RESTful APIs easily. You also have the Ajax proxy, you have memory proxy, and you can also request your data from your local data in memory. So we have easy API integration for working with the Ext JS Grid. And to the end, we have one community and support. We have one extensive documentation. So if you are getting started with Ext JS, you will see one big and very, very good guide that you can get started using Ext JS. And the grid panel guide is very, very good. You can see one Ext JS API doc that you can see all the classes you have inside the framework. You can check the methods, the events, the properties you can use in this component. And we also have one active community. We are on Discord server. We are on Stack Overflow. So you can join our Discord server. In the end of this presentation, I'm going to share with you guys our Discord server link, so you can, our MVPs are there, our the community are there, so you can learn and also help people doing better application on our Discord server. So in conclusion, Ext JS Grid is not just a tool, it's a complete solution that adapts your needs. So it offers a super performance with high features components, and also provide you flexibility and robustness to support, to build high quality scalable applications. And so I would try Ext JS in the next time and check everything you have on this amazing grid component. Okay, so let's now do some demo. I'm going to explore one Ext JS Grid example we have created weeks ago. So we have created two grid panels. We have here on my screen the Ext JS Grid panel using Ext JS framework, one Ext JS framework. You can visit this online example just hitting sencha.com/grid panel. You are going to see this grid panel. In this grid panel, we try to add as many things we can in this grid panel. This grid panel seems to be very, very rich and too many features inside this grid. So you have one simple grid panel with many columns here. You have one example how to add one icon inside your column, how to use one avatar component for that with your initials of your name. We have one text column that will fetch the name for the employee. We have one age with center align the grid panel. We also have one example for how to use one icon inside one cell. So we created one country column here to identify that. We'll have one department as a text cell, and also we have one compliance streaming progress. In this cell, we added one progress bar inside the grid panel. According to your record in your JSON, you are going to see this progress. And also we have one conditional when we apply one UI to this progress bar. For example, if you are greater than 50%, you are going to be green, otherwise you are going to be yellow, so, or red. So you can also use conditional and applying different UIs for your component here. You also have one checkbox to edit the records. We have one example how to add one link inside your cell. So you can click here, you're going to move to the Sencha Ext JS page. Here we have one example how to add one conditional and add colors to your text according to the record. For example, if you are greater than 5, you are going to be green or yellow or red. So you can do anything doing conditional logics here. We have one micrographic here called spark lines. This graph is good to show you one amount of data in one cell. So you can add some spark lines. You can use pie chart. You can use line chart, column chart, candlestick chart inside the cell. So this is called spark line charts. Here you have one example how to use the data for formatting data according to your location. You can see here on top of the grid panel, we also group in the columns by rating. Inside H we have average and all, so you can easily organize your grid panel using the n grouping column. Here we have one example how to add one data binding with one slide. If you change this slide, you're going to see in this example the age column cell here is going to move. You're going to change accordingly. So this is one example how to data binding your grid with the record you are editing. Here you have one example how to use one font awesome icon according to the color. For example, if you double click here, I added one color picker inside this cell editor. So if you change the color, you can see all the reflections here. You also have another one editing cell here. If you double click the cell, you're going to edit this cell for the notice period. You have one email cell, also editable for that. Here also have another grouping column. So absence, we have illness, holiday, and also holiday all. So you can see all the centered align this information. We also have one rating column that you can easily rate your record from 1 to 5. And also age table here. You have the salary cell with one currency formatting. We are using dollar here, but you can use according to your localization you are using in your application. You can see that it will be changed according to your localization you are using. For example, if you are in Brazil, you are going to see real currency. If you are going to in the United States, you are going to see the dollar currency symbol here. See here, you have one button inside the cell that you can easily handle all the events for this button and work with this record you are clicking. So if you click here, you're going to verify merely workman. You also have one example how to use one floating menu when you click on this action column. So in this float menu, you can edit, you can share, you can hide speaker, so you can do anything according to your selected record easily. In the end of this grid, we have another action column that we are showing one icon and we are disabling one icon according to the age of the employee. So if the employer age is greater than 18, you will see the icon. Otherwise, you won't see the icon. You cannot change settings for this person. So if you click here, nothing will happen. But if you click here, we just show you one toast component on the bottom of my screen. So this is the columns of the grid. We have one summary here. You can also export your grid to Excel easily. You can see the grid export Excel file here. So you can export to Excel, to HTML. Let's open this. So everything is created by the client side. You don't need any backend side to export your grid. Also, the framework support dark mode. You can switch by dark mode easily. You can also change the colors of your components. If you change the locale here. Our grid panel are going to reload, and now we are loading this German locale here. So you can see everything is translated. You can work and also explore the example, disable some features here. I'm going to move again to English. You can also change the theme for your grid panel. So we are using the material theme for this example, but now I'm going to change to the Triton theme. The grid example will be the same, but now we are using another theme. So this is very, very nice. Continue with in our grid presentation. Now we're going to explore the whole expander plugin. Let's say that you have one column inside your grid panel in your database, and this column is one long test column. So it's not good to show your long test on your as a column, but you have one whole expander that you can easily show this long test inside one whole expander. You can also show one image, everything. Now we have one option to group the column. In this grid, we are grouping this data according to the department. So you can see everyone, we have 47 employees inside accounting department. If we scroll down here, we have more into administration department, have 38 employees. But now let's say that you want to group by the country column. I'm going to group by this field. Now you have the country column grouped. So we have Algeria, we have Angola, we have Argentina, we have Armenia, Austria, and everything is grouped by the country column. So you can easy group by any column that is groupable when you configure and set this inside your grid panel definition. We have one plugin, one built-in plugin called filter bar that you can easily filter your data. Let's say that I would like to filter someone called Merely. So here I can type Merely, and everyone which here you can specify your operator. I am searching for someone that has Merely inside the name, something like in a cycle database. But you can, if you would like to specify one equal operator, nothing will be fine because we do not have anyone who call Merle. But if you specify like, we have some matched records. You can also add another operators, not equal, empty, not empty, and this kind of operators will change according to your column type. In this example, we are using one text column, so everything will all the operators will reflect only for text operations. But now if you have one number, you can specify, for example, I would like to filter by everyone who has 95 years old. Okay, so I am using the operator equal, but I would like to change the operator to less than 95. So it's filtered. We have one example to use the filter using one combo box for that. So I showed you the text type, the number type. Now I'm using the list type. So I would like to check if we have some employees in Brazil. We have one. You can see that in this filter bar plugin, we are filtering and combining multiple filters. I am filtering everyone who is Brazilian and also is 90 and also is less than 95 years old. So if you click here, maybe we can show more example. I'm going to check for Argentina now. Let's say how many. We have more guys on Argentina here. You can combine the department, the same as the name with string operation. In this example for the progress, you can see that you do not have any kind of filter operation here. we disabled this, so you can you can choose whatever you want on this plugin. You can choose all the columns you need, the filter, and what kind of operator and what kind of filter you want to show on this filter bar here. We also have on another number operation. Now we have one date operation. Equal, not equal. Now, given that this column is one date column, you are going to see this date picker. So you can, let's say that I would like to check everyone who joined date is on this date. No one, because I'm combining the filter. If I would like to less than today or less than yesterday, now it's working. Let's move to another filter here. This is for number. Number I have already showed it to you guys. Nothing more. So we explored the filter bar plugin, so you can easily add one filter for your grid panel. You also can add one toolbar with some custom buttons. You can, for example, one add button, one remove button, one edit button on top of your grid panel to do some crude operations. So it's very easy. In this example, we are also showing how to use icons in your grouping. Let's say that you'd like to do some action with these 5 guys here inside Albania grouping. Let's say that you'd like to print or show some graphics, some chart for that. So in this example, we are showing how to work with charts as well. So we can see one pie chart for that, for this grouping, for the 7 employees here. One bar chart, one another line chart. If you'd like to see more examples, you can click here and you're going to be redirected to our kitchen sink example. You can explore all the Ext JS components and charts inside this kitchen sink example. So try it on when you have a good time. If you'd like to print these 7 employees here, we created one small icon here that if you click, you are going to loop all the grouping, all the employees inside this group, and you have the access to all this record here, so you can do anything with this data. So in this example, I just show you one pop-up showing the name of the 7 employees on this group. You can also use this checkbox to select all column. This is one selection model feature we have inside the Ext JS Grid. I'm going to move to the material design. So you can select all the data. You can resize the grid columns. You can drag and drop and organize your columns. We also can group for multi-grouping feature. If you click on this second tab, you can drag the country column, you can drag the department column. Now you have one multi-grouping feature inside this grid. The same will fetch the same data, but now we are just showing how to multi-grouping your grid panel. Just dragging and drop to this drop area, and it's okay. In this screen, you are going to see how to add colors inside your cell according to your to some record. For example, I am adding one conditional here. If the age is greater than 18, will be green. If less than 18 years old, will be red. And if the age is greater than 60 years old, will be yellow. So this is one example how to do conditional things inside cell. In the end of this presentation, I'm going to explore the source code with this grid panel, and these source codes are already available in our GitHub. You can download and clone this example and explore yourself and use as one reference to create your new beautiful application. And here we have one pivot grid. This kind of pivot grid is something very, very cool inside the Ext.js, because sometimes you need to show and you need to analyze some kind of data, but you cannot easily do that using the simple grid. Let's say that you would like to see one report that you would like to show how many sales, what is the revenue price of all the company for some salesperson or something like that. It's very hard to analyze this kind of data here. And using pivot grid, you can do the same the Excel use for the dynamic tables. So here in the pivot grid, we have the person, the employee, the company, the country, and you see all the data according to the person, the country, and the data, and the date. So for example, for this here, if you can expand, you're going to explore in details all the report. You can collapse the year. So I know that Andrew in Meta company in Brazil on this year, the value was 500. If you'd like to explore what months on this year, you can expand this column. Now I know that was on April. Only April he sold something. So you have one subtotal here. So the pivot grid, you can easily show your data, and you do not need to do this calculation on your backend. You just need to give the Ext.js one JSON with all your data, all your sales data, for example, and the Ext.js, you are going to calculate everything and create this beautiful data set for you. You don't need to calculate and send this calculated information to Ext.js. Ext.js will do everything for you. You just need to send the how JSON, and everything will be grouped according to your configuration inside your grid panel. You need to specify the axis, the top axis, the left axis, the aggregators fields, and everything will work. You can use the configurator, so you can easily configure your grid panel. You can drag and drop columns here. If you like to remove the company and click done, now we do not have the company anymore, we just have the country. So the configurator plugin, it's easy to use, and you can adjust your view according to your preference. So let's say that someone inside your company would like to see another perspective of your data. So using the configurator, he can easily build new reports for that, and also drag and drop, remove some labels, add some labels, some aggregators. If you double click here, you can sort, you can disable filtering, you can do a lot of things with the configurator plugin. If you double click the example, we also have one new plugin here called drill down. If you double click and would like to know every sales on Brazil for Andrew, if you'd like to explore all the sales, remember I said you that you just need to retrieve all the data. So here's the data. So all the sales numbers from Andrew in Brazil was this. If you double click here, we have 3 sales here. So this is the drill down plugin that you can use inside your pivot grid. You can also customize your cells inside your pivot grid. In this example, we created one link. So if you click here, you can do anything. You can, let's say that you'd like to open another screen when you click on this cell. You can easily access your record and do something cool with this feature. You can also export your pivot grid when using pivot grid. The same I show you on the simple grid example. Now you can use the export functionality. So let's say that you would like to export the pivot table definition. Take a look here. You're going to export. Everything is using front-end solution. Everything is made on client. You don't need backend. Again, I say to you. Oops. So I do not have Excel here, but if you open the downloaded file here, you can see the spreadsheet on your Excel file. You can also explore some features. You can collapse, you can expand, rows only, columns only. You can work with that and explore this example. So this example was made using the Ext JS framework. This is one complete Ext JS example. And we have created the same example now using ReExt. So we have the ReExt example here. You can see this is the same example, but this application, you can visit this application on sencha.com/ReExt Grid. We have the same sample doing the same thing, but now using ReExt framework. And we are launching the ReExt package that you can easily use Ext.js components inside your ReExt application. So for you guys that you are searching for, you'd like to use Ext.js and you have one ReExt project, now it's time to use our beautiful and rich components inside your ReExt application using the ReExt package. So the example is almost the same. I don't waste time presenting again. Now I'm going to move to source code exploration for both example, for Ext.js and ReExt example. Okay, so you guys, if you'd like to download and clone the Ext.js example, you can find on our Sencha-Ext.js-example account and Ext.js Grid example. You can clone all the source code of the grid panel, and the same for ReExt application. So you can try the source code. I'm going to open my VS Code now, and let's explore how everything was made and how we can easily work with our grid panel. Let's start with the Ext.js grid panel source code. You can see here that we have one simple application extrutory made using npm. So you have the app folder, you have the app.json file, everything knows about this file. So in this file we created, in this example, we are showing how to use multi-localization for your application. You can use different themes, so you can check this file and export, so you can do the same, this as a reference. So you can easily explore this file and check what we made to share with you. Let's open the app, the view. We have the grid for desktop, for phone. One thing I forgot to show you guys, this grid panel also work with your tablets. So let's say that you would like to show this on one iPad. Take a look. It's okay. Everything will work in any device, both for ReExt and Ext.js. You can also use a smartphone for displaying this kind of data. Of course, one grid panel is not good for a smartphone because you have a bunch of data. It's not comfortable to see this kind of data on your smartphone, but you can use it. For a smartphone, usually I use the list component for showing data, but here you can see different behaviors according to your device. If you are using your mobile, you're going to see this floating action sheet here. So the example works in any device. This is the best thing. Let's move into our VS Code and explore again the source code. So here in our app view folder, we have the grid. The first tab is the complex grid. You can see we have one grid panel, and take a look how easily, and we are just using plugins to give power to our grid panel. We are using plugin for paging to bar, for the summary. You are specifying the store and where the data is located, how to fetch this data. We are using a sorter. We are using some tools for that tools that we added in our grouping. The select table configuration. We have some platform configs according to your device. If you'd like to add some features according to desktop, you can do the platform config for that. If you are running on desktop, this plugin will be available. If you are not using desktop, this another kind of plugin will be available. For example, you can see the Grid Edge Table plugin is available for the tablet mode. Let's move into tablet again. Okay, reload the page. I'm going to double click. Let's check if you are available. I'm going to move to here. For example, in this example, I added the cell editing, but in the second example, if you double click, you can easily do some operation. You can change the date, you can change everything you want to show here and submit, or you can delete this record. This record is deleted. Now I changed the date, submit. So this is, you just, to do this inside the Ext JS Grid is very, very easy. You have one complete operation for creating, deleting, fetching data inside one small plugin. So this kind of plugin is called Grid Edge Table. So you just need to specify the plugin Grid Edge Table. When you specify this Grid Edge Table plugin as true, you are going to, when you are defining your columns, you can specify if this column is editable or not. So let's say that our age column, you want this should be editable. So if you specify that this column is editable, your plugin will consider this column and show the number field when you double click here. So in this grid panel, we have the age, the email, and the salary as an editable column. The other columns are not editable, but you'd like to add new columns, you just need to specify on your column definition if this column will be editable or not. For example, the country is not editable, so you specify editable as false. And we also have the grouped grid here, the same thing, the same approach, using plugins, using items as a toolbar on top, the columns definition, cell, widget cell, so you can explore the source code. Now I'm going to show you the ReExt example source code that we are doing the same thing. If you are new on ReExt, you can try and request your evaluation for ReExt in our Sencha website. You can go to our website and select ReExt, and you are going to fill the form. You are going to receive one trial key that you can use the ReExt package inside your ReExt application. To get started, you have one documentation already available on docs.sencha.com. You can select the ReExt product and you can easily get started how to create your first application using ReExt package. Okay, so let's explore the ReExt. This is one kind of ReExt application, Extrutory, one package JSON file here. Everyone who works with ReExt will know this file. We have the source folder here that you're going to accommodate all the files. You have the app, we have the index. I'm going to explore some context. We created one app store context to store the theme, the toolkit, the locale information here. So this is one puri ReExt source code. We have maybe the most important file here, that is the Ext provider. You can see you can add your trial key for that, and you easily using your component inside React. You have the global context that you can add the App Store, the theme provider, the Ext provider, and everything. Now let's check how we can create ExtJS components for that. So we have the main layout. The main layout is one function that will export the main layout easily with the main view. This is the main toolbar, and how the component was created. We have you can also use the model. The same way you program in Next.js, you can add models, you can add stores, and just need to use this to require some required classes inside ReExt. You have one employee X store here. Now let's check the view, the grid panel. Take a look. Here we have the ReExt. Here you can see the ReExt component that we are using the X-type table, and all the ExtJS configuration will be hosted on the config property for this component. So let's see, you are using the one tab bar, one grid panel, one grouped panel, and the pivot here. Now let's explore this grid complex component inside ReExt. Take a look. So to create one Ext.js component inside ReExt, you just need to create this function and return the ReExt instance, specify your X type, and all the configuration you want to add to your grid panel according to the Ext.js framework, you can specify inside the config, and everything will work. And you can also use the MVVM structure. You can use view controller, view model. The same way you are using for Ext.js, you can use on ReExt. The same code, the same code. So the main difference and the main information is how to create the component. So you just need to create the component and return the ReExt component, and inside that specify your X type. Everything is similar to Ext.js. So now you are able to use the amazing and richful components that we have inside the Ext.js framework inside your ReExt application. So you guys, if you are a ReExt developer, welcome to this world, welcome to ReExt. You can try it on and give us your feedback with this component. You can use in with ReExt, you can use localization, you can use all the components with the ReExt. You can use the calendar, you can use the grid, you can use both toolkits, classic and modern. You can use the package, you can use the charts, all the components we have inside the Ext.js and the features you can use inside ReExt in an easy way. All right. So I hope I have more time to explore and show you more good things here, but I guess this presentation will show you one overview what we have made it for the grid panels, for the ReExt, for the Ext.js grid. So it's now time for you to go to our repository, go to our online example, and explore and do your best grid inside your software using this reference. And so if you are looking for one good grid component, Ext.js is here. You can use it for both frameworks. All right. Okay, so let's move to the. I guess we have more 15 minutes to end this webinar. So I would like to thank you for joining this webinar. It's also a pleasure to present this kind of cool things with you guys. Thanks for the community, for the MVPs and all the customers that are joining this call. So if you'd like to connect with me, here's my LinkedIn, my email, my GitHub. If you'd like to check the project source code, here's the URL that you can explore the Ext.js example. And if you'd like to check the online example, you can hit sencha.com/gridpanel. And thank you for that. Now I'm going to move to our question and answers session. But before that, I would like to invite you guys to our community and join our Discord server. If you are looking for a community engagement, would like to help or learn and share your Ext.js knowledge with experts, join our Sencha Discord now and be part of our community. I am there our Sencha MVP is there, Sencha developers are there, so you can expand your awareness of Sencha products. So you can scan this QR code here and you can go to in our Discord server, you can post question, you can engage with our community. So give a try for that. Okay, so now we are going to open the question and answers. If you guys have some questions, feel free to ask here. I'm going to try to reply everyone. So thanks for joining again, and thanks, and see you on the next time.
Awesome. Winston, thank you. Thank you for sharing the tips. A really complex grid that's really work for Ext JS and React. Thank you for building that and showcasing that today. Awesome. Let's take some questions. Myself, Raj here. I'm a marketing manager at Sencha. Now let's move on the Q&A sessions. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat. We will address them as many as we can. Are you ready, Emerson? Let's take some questions.
Yeah.
Sure. The first question we have, are there any limitations for Ext JS components available in ReExt?
No, there's no limitation for ExtJS usage inside ReExt. All the framework, all the modern toolkit and classic toolkit are available on ReExt. So you just need to specify the toolkit you may use on your application. Everything will work. So there's no limitation. Of course, you need your license. You can do one trial, but you have one commercial license to use each component. For example, let's say that you would like to use the calendar, the pivot grid, the pivot exporter, the D3 component. You need to one enterprise plan for that. But if you have one ExtJS license, you can easily use that according to your license.
Thank you for answering that. The next question we have here, how to export a tree panel grid?
Okay, so I'm going to show you the example here. To export your grid panel data, it's very, very easy, and we are using one premium component for that called exporter. Let's say I'm going to show you the app view grid. Let's say that we're going to show the complex. We have created this example in our complex grid panel. So when open the grid panel, we are using this plugin. We are requiring the exporter plugin here. Let's check where is that here. You just need to require your exporter plugin. Now you need to set your plugin here. For example, if you are using desktop, we are using the exporter, the grid exporter. You can specify exporter true. And now, for example, for each column, you can specify some kind of information for the export stuff. For example, let's say that you don't like to export one specific column. You can remove and ignore it on export this column. You can do some styles for that. And here is the source code for the export. For example, when you click on the export button, you have where is the source code for that? Export document. Take a look how it's easy to export your document. Using this kind of plugin, you just need, when you click on the export button, you are going to use you get your view. In this case, the view is your grid panel, and you call the save document as method, specifying the config here. And we are going to give the title and the file name, and ExtJS will do everything for you according to your grid configuration. So with these 3 pieces of code, you can easily export your grid data using the export method, specifying the plugin, requiring the plugin, and configuring your columns according to your exporter needs. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the detailed explanation. The next question we have here, can we replace Ext JS router with React router using ReExt?
Yes, you are not blocking to not use any kind of good features you may have in React. You can easily use. You don't need to use the ExtJS router, but if you better using the ExtJS router, you can use it well. But if your application are already using the ReExt router, you can easily implement yourself the solution. You can easily use another kind of package inside. When you are using ReExt, you don't need to use only ExtJS component. The ExtJS component is just one bridge, so you can easily use the third parties components and libraries, given that you are inside your ReExt application. So you can, the answer for that is yes, you can replace.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The next question is grid configuration add-on an extra plugin like Grid Exporter? You are,
Sorry,
yeah,
ask again.
yeah, sure. Is a grid configuration add-on an extra plugin like Grid Exporter?
I guess this question is not clear for me. You are asking if the grid configuration add-on for
Yeah,
S.
is it? Yeah, the question is,
Oh yes, I
we,
guess I understand. I guess I understand the question now. I guess this
sure.
guy is asking if the configurator for the pivot grid is one add-on like the exporter. Yes. For example, I guess he's asking something like this. So let's say that we have the pivot grid and the configurator. So the configurator is one plugin for the pivot grid. I'm going to show you and how to ease do that. In our example, you have the pivot, you have the pivot grid definition. You just need to require the same thing we did for the exporter. You can do that for the pivot grid because the configurator, the drill down plugin, the range editor is one plugin for the pivot grid. So you just need to require this class, the configurator. In your pivot grid definition, you just need to specify that you would like to use the pivot configurator as true. And we have on our pivot grid one toolbar, and you have the configurator button. Where is the configurator button? Okay, we have the configurator button here. When you click on this configurator button, we are just showing the configurator. Now I'm going to move to our view controller and check what we programmed on the show configurator. The show configurator method is just one line. You just need to get your grid panel, your pivot grid, and show configurator. Because you are already using the plugin, you just require it on top of this class. You are using the configurator, and you specify that you would like to use this plugin inside your grid panel, adding this plugin here. The pivot configurator, the pivot exporter, the pivot drawdown, this apply to all the plugins. So as soon as I add this plugin to my component, I can easily use it. And the call for the configurator is just this. You just need to get your pivot grid and call the show configurator method, and you're going to see this nice result. You click on the configurator, and now the configurator is showing because you are using this plugin. I hope I answered this question.
Thank you very much, sir. The next question we have here, how does ReExt maintain high performance when working with large data sets and complex interfaces in React application?
Ask again, please.
So how does ReExt maintain high performance for large data sets?
The same way we use for ExtJS, nothing's changed. You can use the store, the proxy, the model. So nothing changed. The same performance you have on ExtJS application will have on ReExt. So nothing changed in terms of performance. It's the same way to load data. You can use the proxy, the header. So according to your data in your server, you are going to fetch this data and show in your grid panel using the same way you use on ExtJS. You can specify the proxy, the data, the store. I can show you easily here. For example, on the ReExt example, we have the view grid complex. On this component, you can also use the plugins. In this component, I'm using one store, and in this store, we have, you can see that we're using this store here, and in this store, you are going to fetch the data. In this kind of example, we are using some local data, but you can easily change your data location to another backend, and everything will be okay. Let me check where is the store for that. Components Ext JS model. This is the model for that, mapping all the fields, and we have the store for that. So you just need to specify your URL, and everything will be rendered inside your grid panel easily. You can specify where your data is located, your endpoint for that, and everything will be fetched and rendered inside your grid panel the same way you use in Ext.js. No pain for that.
Great, thank you very much. The next question we have here, like for example, someone is wanna switch to or looking to adopt ReExt into their existing projects. What kind of support or documentation is available for developers?
All right, so we are about to launch one rich documentation for that, but you can explore the documentation for ReExt here. You can go to docs.sencha.com. Let's get started here. You are going to see this landing page for our documentation. You can see all the products Sencha has, and ReExt is just added here, the ReExt component. You have one introduction, how to get started, so you can npm install Sencha ReExt. If you are a trial customer, you can easily try it on. You can npm install from the public npm. If you are one active customer, you just need to use your support portal credentials. You can npm log into that, install Sencha ReExt package. If you'd like to create one ReExt application using create ReExt app, you can run these comments. After that, you just need to install the ReExt latest version. You just need to copy these sample files here to your application and just npm start. When you fill the form assessing the Sencha, when you fill the form here for the ReExt, you are going to receive one email with your trial key to use the ReExt trial version. So if you get, for example, get started, you just need to fill this form, and you are going to receive one email with your key. And after that, you are going to add to your application and work well. So this is the documentation for the ReExt, and also you can find the documentation in the npm.js registry, and the package is called Sencha in the Sencha scope called ReExt. Here you have one table of contents of example, kickstart, how to install, troubleshooting, how you get your trial key, the documentation using overrides, how you can use overrides the same way you use in Ext.js, you can use for ReExt. Here's the ReExt example. If you are looking for more example using ReExt, is the example. And this is all the documentation we have. So you can find documentation on our npm.js registry and also in the documentation inside Sencha domain. All right.
Great, thank you. I think we are just about the time. I think we can take one last question for the day. What level of customization is possible with ReExt components, and how easy it is to extend or modify them?
All right. This is, if you are familiar with Ext.js, you are going to do the same you are using Ext.js. For example, in this example here, I created, you guys, you can see on the grid panel, you could see one avatar component for that. So you just need to define one component. I just extend from component. I created the Ext.js component here. And now you can use it normally. For example, inside your company, your column definition, I am using the avatar component here. So this is one example how to extend and customize your component. So you can create the component the same way you create inside the Ext.js, the same code. You don't need to use ReExt way to do that. You are using the Ext.js definition, class definition, and you are using the component itself. all right? You just need to return the ReExt component and customize your configuration here.
Awesome, Vimerson. This is a really nice presentation. That wraps up our today's presentation. Thank you for joining us and for your time. We hope you found it valuable and informative.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. See you on the next webinar. So try to join our server. We are reaching you guys on this beautiful community. Give power to our community engagement, and you are going to find many experts there. Thank you for joining.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.